So I want to say hi to everybody and thank you so much for joining us. We are going to be talking about how AI can help you save a ton of time and money on your SOAP notes or on your follow-up notes for your patients and clients. This webinar is called Cut Your Charting Time in Half Using AI. And I am so delighted to introduce you to this tool. I've been using it recently. I am blown away by it. It's called Freed, and it's an AI scribe tool. And it's helped me save thousands of hours on the notes, the follow-up notes and documentation. I actually have a scribe that usually does it. And she's been blown away by it. It's saved her so much time just transferring things. And we do the manual putting supplements into dispensaries and things like that, but this does all the notes, which is just incredible. So to show you firsthand how it works, I've invited Dr. Jack Yang. Is it Yang or Jang? I don't even know how to pronounce
Jeng.
it.
Yeah, you can just call
Jang.
me Jack, please.
Okay. He's the head of clinical affairs from Freed to demonstrate and talk about their AI scribe technology. And so many people are using this software. I actually was able to use the free 10 free trial sessions for my clients and was so blown away. I went ahead and signed up for it, but don't sign up yet because for this group, we have an exclusive offer and we're going to be giving you a really special deal on this. You'll get the 10 free notes done for you, plus you'll get $50 off your first and second month of your subscription. So it's literally half price for this service. And I'm going to be putting the codes in the notes as well. But just to introduce you to Jack a little more, he's head of clinical affairs at Freed, as I mentioned, and he's a practicing physician at Kaiser Permanente. Prior to his role, he actually was the chief medical officer of Hone Health. That's a virtual men's health clinic serving over 15,000 patients in 35 states. And he was chief medical officer at Scanwell Health and at-home diagnostics company. He received his MD from the Mayo Clinic College of Medicine and completed residency training at UCSF. And he also holds a BS in electrical engineering and an MBA from Arizona State University. Boy, you're a real, you're
A
a
lot of time in
go-getter.
school.
But we're delighted to have you here, Jack. So tell us a little bit about it. We'd love to know how did Freed get started? What was the impetus behind this?
Yeah, thank you, Jody. Thanks for having me. And I'm excited to share more about Freed. So, Freed's founder and CEO, his name is Arez, and he actually started Freed for his wife. Arez's background, he's a software engineer, previously worked at Facebook for 5 years, left to start his first company. And after he shut down that company, he was thinking about what he wanted to do next. And he's married to a family medicine resident. And so he was used to seeing his wife come home every night and spend, 2 to 3 hours writing her notes. And he thought, with ChatGPT, the technology behind it, I wonder if there's something I can do to help my wife, save time on documentation. And so he built Freed for her and showed it to some of her colleagues, and they were all just blown away and said, "Wow, this could really help me save time, specifically pajama time, right? The time that all clinicians, when they get off of a busy day in the clinic, have to go home and spend hours finishing up their notes, sometimes on weekends. The time that you are spending away from your loved ones and away from taking care of yourself, being able to work out and do the things that you love because you have to finish writing your notes. And from there, that's where Freed was born. So that was last year. So it's kind of wild how quickly Freed has grown and how quickly the team has grown. When I met Arez last year in November, Freed already had over 2,000 paying clinicians. And since November, we're now getting close to 8,000 paying clinicians with about 50,000 patient notes being written per day. So it's pretty
Unbelievable.
wild the scale we've grown.
Mm-hmm.
It's very exciting. And I think, uh, beyond helping, we could talk a lot about the benefits of what people are telling us they're gaining from using Freed. You highlighted one of them. Probably the most important one that people mention is the time savings. So we hear from people, wow, this is saving me 2, 3 hours a day on my charting, which is really, really incredible. I love hearing that as a doctor myself. We know that we did not go to school to learn how to write notes, but that is increasingly what our lives are turning into in practice.
That's like almost
Which,
2 days of work a week. I mean, it's like having
yeah,
so much extra time to just, really the name suits it, freed. It's to be free, right?
exactly. Yeah, and that's time that's off. It's just really not compensated, right? Because a lot of time you're doing that after you get off work, and as clinicians, we obviously care about our patients and taking care of them, but we do that at the expense of our own mental health, our own physical health, right? And so I love hearing from our users, clinicians who say, I'm now able to go home 15 minutes after my clinic day ends because I'm not stuck there writing notes, and I can go home and work out or cook dinner with my family and eat with my family. And those are testimonials that really give the free team the motivation to keep working hard on making the product better.
Amazing. Uh, yeah. So I would love to hear a little more about the product. Like you know, how does the technology work? Tell us a little more about how that.
Yeah, sure. Maybe I can even just show a quick demo for the
That'd be
audience
great.
so they can
And
see it in
it's
action.
super
So let me
simple to use, by the way. I have to say, like it's like just you just hit a button and go. It's in it and it catches it. I was surprised how easy it was.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was designed for. As I mentioned, Rez's background as a software engineer was from Facebook. So he's used to working on consumer products. And a lot of our engineering team, actually almost the majority of our team, are engineers who used to work at Facebook. So this is a team of people who deeply understand, consumer grade products, which I think most people could agree that our EHR software is not designed for us, not designed for the user. It's really designed often for billing purposes. And so Freed was really designed to be simple, require minimal, training, very easy to use, and you can onboard yourself, and you don't have to sit through hours of tutorials to learn how to use it. So I'm showing you an example of what the opening screen is once you log in, and all you have to do is just click the capture conversation button. So we do recommend you tell your patients you're using Freed before you do that. Not every state has a two-party consent, but most, some do. So, but we think it's useful to do it regardless of what state you're in. And we also actually have a link here that you can reference if you're looking for ideas of how to explain to your patients that you're using Freed. But you just, basically get real quick, talk to them really quickly about the software, get their consent, and then click the capture conversation button. And that's it. It starts recording. And when you're talking, and it's going to be a little weird because I'm using my AirPods and we're on a call, but you can basically just click the button, start, and it'll start recording. Sorry, it's a little buggy because I'm in a webinar right now using my AirPods. And once you're done, you click End Visit, and you put a name to it. So, the name of your patient or whatever you'd like to do to help you remember who it's for. And usually takes a minute to 2 minutes for the software to first take your audio and transcribe it. So it creates a full transcription of everything that was said. As soon as that transcription is done, we actually delete the audio file, just really more for privacy concerns. Some people are, concerned about having audio recordings being saved to the cloud. So we transcribe it and delete the audio. And then from there, the AI uses that transcription to go ahead and generate your SOAP note. So I went ahead and actually created one earlier using sort of a mock visit, so I can show you what the SOAP note looks like. But you can test this by doing a mock visit with yourself, which is what a lot of people use, maybe one of their free visits to do. Or you can do what you did, Jody, which is use your 10 free visits to do a visit with one of your patients, just so you can see what the note looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and show you, this is a mock visit. So no, this is not real patient information. It's just me talking to myself as if I was a little bit crazy. But and so you'll see that it's a simple SOAP note format. And I actually added a few headers that I typically like to use in my notes. So, like a chief complaint, history of present illness, what medications, review of systems. And I saved this, and using something we call personalization, taught this to my AI that I like having these headers. and to remember those headers to use for my future notes. So that's a feature that we're really focused on making better is we want the scribe to be your personal AI scribe, not just a AI scribe. And the idea there is that the personal AI scribe is going to learn from you over time what your preferences are, like what kind of headers you like to use, what kind of formatting you like, and it will write your notes in that kind of format using those type of headers. So that's what the personalization feature is. But this is what it would look like if you were just using it, right off for the first time. So you would see it's a simple SOAP note format, paragraphs. And so this is the subjective section, the objective section. It tries its best to capture whatever you say out loud during your exam. So, you would want to kind of narrate your exam as you're doing it. And then you can also tell, diagnostic test results if you have any results that you want to be included in the note. You can just narrate that out loud. And then the assessment and plan section is at the bottom. And if you want to organize it a different way, so some people, for example, might like to put all their plans for all their problem lists under one section, and you can teach the AI that that's what you like, and they'll try to do that in the future. And then we also include something called patient instructions, which a lot of our users like because at the end of the visit, they would like to be able to hand their patients a short letter kind of outlining what you discussed in your visit. So a lot of people like that. So we generate that automatically, so you can look it over real quick and then print it out for your patient. Or we actually have something called Secure Send, where you can click this and you can actually email it to your patient's email address. So that's something that's really nice if you want to just email it and not have to print anything out. And then at the very bottom is a summary section. This is where we summarize the transcript. And I mentioned that we transcribe the entire visit. So you can turn on the full transcript and see the full transcript summary. So this is the audio file that was transcribed before it was deleted. You can see all the words that were transcribed in this summary section. So that's it.
Say, I have not even been using half of these features and I'm still blown away. Like I literally did not set this up. I just, went ahead and hit record meeting or start session or capture conversation, I guess. And it literally puts everything in organized, here's the summary of the visit. And it really does an amazing job summarizing everything. Even, it's an hour and a half session. I'm meeting with them and it really puts everything organized amazingly well. And then it gives you like the follow-up notes that you should send. And it has it all laid out perfectly with all your recommendations that you made and everything. So I just can't even, I'm really blown away. And actually my friend and colleague, Tammy told me about this. She's just commented on Facebook that she loves it. She told me how amazing it was. She's a nurse practitioner and she's been using it in her practice. And she just said it's saving her so much time. And the price of this is unbelievable, guys. It's 99 bucks a month. If you could save 3 hours a day or 2 hours a day in charting, what's that worth? And with our promo codes, the permanent promo code for this group is going to be JODI50, where you're going to get 10 free sessions using our link and also $50 off your first month of subscription. But if you decide to just sign up, try the free trial with the next 15 days and you decide to sign up, you're going to use the code JODIEXCLUSIVE for $50 off the first and second month. So you'll get $100 off total. It'll only be $50 a month for your first 2 months after the 10-day trial. And that's going to expire. I think it's May 1st or 2nd that promo code's over. I'm sure you'll want to sign up before then, though, after you do your 10 visits. I remember when my 10 ran out, I was like, oh, this is a no-brainer. I only got the $50 off 1 month, though. You guys are going to get 2 months of 50 off. So I really highly recommend that everybody just go ahead and sign up. It's a no-brainer. And you're allowed to share this code and link with your friends too if you want to get them a couple months off. So anyone who's not in this group, I don't mind if you share. But yeah, I mean, it's life-changing. It'll save you so much time. So thank you for that demo. Anything else you want to tell us about the software?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we talked a lot about the time savings from using this, and I think that is the primary benefit for clinicians. I think the other thing that others have, other clinicians have told me that it's helped with is because they know that the AI is recording every word that's being said in the visit, and they can access that transcript if they need to. They feel confident that they don't have to sit there and try to take notes or type into their computer during a visit with their patient. And a lot of the patients have told them, wow, I feel like you're really paying attention to me now because you're not staring at your computer screen anymore. And they feel like they're getting better care, and a doctor is spending more time with them, even though they're actually not. They're spending the same amount of time as they normally would, but it's just that eye contact they're able to make to be able to really focus on them, knowing that the AI is transcribing the entire visit. And
Yeah, and you
the
don't
other
have
thing
to
we've
type
also
while and take the time to type while you're sitting there with them. You get to spend, even if it's just a few extra minutes per session, you can, give them that much better care.
Exactly. And it's
Mm.
that feeling that they get that they're really getting that your undivided attention, even though when you're typing in your computer, you're really trying to help type, what's happening in your visit. For people that are on the other side, it doesn't quite feel that way. It feels a little more impersonal. The other thing we've heard from some of our users is that they feel like this actually helps them capture everything that happened in a visit better, because sometimes they forget to write something down, or they would miss it because they were doing a physical exam and something was discussed while they were away from the computer, or maybe they're writing their notes, later that night or that weekend, and they forget to include something. So everything is being captured. It's in the full transcript. They want to reference it. It's
Mhm.
already in the note. And that has helped a lot of our users be able to bill more accurately, right? Because they're able to make sure the note is fully comprehensive of everything that happened. We've actually heard from one user who just went through, not something anyone wants to go through as a clinician, but being sued for medical malpractice. And she felt very strongly that if she had access to free 2 years ago, in that visit, she had told her patient to go to emergency room, but she forgot to document it. As we all know, and from our training, if you don't document it, it didn't happen. And because of that, her forgetting to document that in her note, that led to a lawsuit. It took years to really figure out. So, and she felt like, well, if I was using free back then, if it was available back then I would have had that in my note automatically, and could have avoided this really painful process.
Wow.
So that's something else that I think is that liability aspect is really important.
And even in terms of instructions on medications and things like that, you'll have all that in the notes that you're sending to your patient, but even for your own edification, if you're having the transcript taken of the visit, you can't dispute it. So that's really great. And I find that reviewing my notes before I meet with a client the next time I'm meeting with them, I can go through and um really be prepared for that meeting, because I can look back at what we've discussed before. Because as you know, you get a lot of patients or clients, you can't remember everything, but I can go back through the notes, and it's really thorough with um, outlining everything really well and putting everything in sections that's like it's easy to scan and look through and see find what I'm looking for. And I can certainly search keywords and things like that to get the information I'm looking for.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that pre-charting work that you do before you see your patient is something that we all have to do, right? And for some people, maybe it's 5 minutes to 15 minutes or something. For some people, it could be hours. My younger brother is also a physician, and he's a hematologist oncologist at Sloan Kettering, and he gets a lot of referrals because it's a tertiary referral center. And sometimes patients will come in with 200 pages of outside records, and he has to go through 200 pages to find that maybe 1 to 2 page of useful information. And so that pre-charting aspect can take a lot of time. That's something that we're actually working on now, is can we use AI to help with that? So can AI actually summarize those 200 pages and summarize your previous notes and give you a short summary of what's important? And that's what we're calling a pre-charting product. It's not currently available. It's still being worked on by our team. But we hope to release that product, soon, to help all of us who see patients and have to do the pre-charting be able to do that much faster. So we're
Yeah.
really excited to share that, to get that out into the world, because it's something that, prior to this type of technology, this generative AI technology, what's really underpinning, ChatGPT, these large language models are able to do that we just couldn't do before. This is new technology that's really, really innovative and allows us to do things that we never thought was possible. And so it's really exciting to see where we can take that and what we can build with that. This was really for us the first step of that. Seems like an obvious first step, right? You can have the AI listen, transcribe, and write the notes. But what else can AI do? And that's what we're really working on exploring.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'd love to hear what else is in the works with you guys. But I also um I know that my one of my concerns was, is this meant only for Western medicine? And I figured, well, I'll try it for the 10 free sessions and see. And it really gets all the supplements and everything I'm recommending, because I do strictly functional. And it really gets me. I know it's designed for both, right? It's not.
Yeah, it's actually so yeah, we have quite a few people that practice functional medicine that use it. We have naturopaths, we have DOs, MDs, we have chiropractors, we have NPs, PAs. We really have a whole range of users coming from different backgrounds. And I think what's really amazing about this technology is that it's not trained on any specific textbook, right? It's not like we gave it a medical textbook and said, learn this. It's trained on all the available written knowledge of humans. It's available through the internet. And so it's really trained on a huge body of language. And so the important thing that I always tell our users is that the AI is really good, but it's not perfect. So I would treat these notes as if maybe you had a medical student help you write them, right? So imagine if you are working with a medical student, they write their version of the note. You still want to read and make sure it's accurate before you finalize it. So about 70% of our notes that are being generated today, people aren't editing it and they're just using it. So that's great. That tells us that we're on the right track. But 30% still require edits. So you have to make sure that the note that generated for you has correct medications. Medications are hard, right? I mean, we have a hard time saying it ourselves. You can imagine that they can be easily confusing to an AI if you say one word versus another. You want to make sure medications are accurate and everything that's in your note is accurate. But the idea is that the AI is giving you that rough draft, that medical student note draft for you to then go ahead and edit and cut down your time from 3 hours to 15 minutes.
Funny you should say that, because my first scribe was a medical student and um, Western medicine. So yeah, we definitely had to check things over. But I find that it's really been very accurate with what we're doing, and I love that, just having everything really thorough notes taken. And Michelle is saying that she knows Practice Better has an AI too. It's Practice Better is a software that we use a lot in functional medicine. But she says it doesn't have all the features. And I agree. I've heard people using it, and it's just not there. It does not have the level of sophistication as this software does. So
Yeah,
for
I actually
90
encourage I actually encourage people to test different products head to head. I've had some people say I actually had 4 AI scribes all running at the same time, listening to the same visit, and they compared the notes of all 4 of them once they were done, and they decided to choose free. Maybe there's another AI scribe out there that produces better notes. I think that's great if there is. But for a lot of our users, they've done that head to head testing, and they found that Freed was consistently produced the best quality notes. And that's what our team is focused on. We're really focused on creating that perfect note for you. We're near perfect. So you don't have to do any or much editing after the fact. And we really want to continue to develop what we call that personal AI scribe. So it's going to learn from you over time, and it's going to be able to produce the note to your liking. And maybe we could talk a little bit more about EHR integration. That's another thing that our team is working on. So we're just starting pilots with a few different EHRs. Unfortunately, I don't think Practice Better is one of the few that we're piloting now, but something I'll definitely look into. But the idea there is that you have that more seamless integration where you don't have to copy and paste into your EHR. Right now, we make copying and pasting easy because you can just click a button and it can copy all the sections, or you can click a button for each individual section to copy it, and then you paste into your EHR. But the goal with the EHR integration work that we're doing is that once the note is done, you can send that note to your EHR without having to copy and paste. And so that is the focus of our EHR integration work.
That's great. Anything else around the corner with what some of the things you're working on?
Yeah, one of the things that we're working on right now is we would call it the pre-visit tool, and what that allows. So I actually was a scribe when I was a pre-med student. So I worked in a busy emergency department, and what I would do actually was a little bit different. I actually went into the patient's room before they saw the doctor, and depending on why they're coming in, if they have a headache or a belly ache or whatever it is, I had a different template. I would go through a list of questions to ask, right? How long has it been happening for? Have you tried taking anything? I also asked about their past medical history, allergies, medications. And then I would present that information to the doctor, to the emergency room doctor. And so they can then go into that room and really focus in on what they really need to ask, right? And that really helps save them time. So we built a tool to basically mimic that experience. So as a clinician, you can send a link or a QR code to your patient before the visit. They could even do it in your waiting room if that's something that you have an iPad or something for them. And basically, the AI will ask them, "Why are you coming in today?" And depending on what they say, it'll ask follow-up questions. So if someone says, "I'm coming in for a headache," you say, "Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. How long has it been happening for? What does it feel like? Have you taken any medications?" And it'll ask some of these common questions that you might want to know, and then it'll summarize it for you so you can see before the visit, okay, they're coming in for a headache. It's been going on for this many days. And you can really hone in on what you need to hone in on. So that's something that we're actually starting to pilot now. It's really exciting. And I think our clinicians will be able to use that to help save time. And the idea there is that then you can use that information to help with your pre-charting process too, right? So as you're preparing for your visit, you want to have as much information as you can. This is one of the ways we'll do it.
I love it. Well, I think all of you are going to be able to take on more patients because of this software or have more time off, whatever your goals are. My goal is as I'm getting older, I'd love to cut down to 3 days a week. So tools like this can be so invaluable. And if you're using a scribe, it can save you a lot of money. Perhaps the scribe can do other work for you. But I really think that this is the way to go with it's just you have nothing to lose by trying the 10 free visits. Just record it alongside whatever other things that you're doing, even with your scribe, and compare and see how much how well it just takes the notes. And I've just been seriously blown away. I contacted, usually people contact me and say, "Can we come to your group?" I contacted Freed and say, "Hey, I want to tell everybody about this software." It's just amazing. So thank you so much for coming in, Jack. I really appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions you want to put in the comments? I think Michelle's asking, do you think it'd be helpful to have people sign a consent when they first start working with you that visibly captured via audio tool? I think you covered that in the beginning, and reassure them that the audio will be deleted, so only the summary is available in their medical records.
Yeah, that's a great question, Michelle. I mean, I think it's there's no sort of requirement to getting a written signed consent, but I know that there are some clinicians out there who are doing that just out of abundance of caution. We've talked to some medical malpractice providers and carriers, and they're still trying to figure out what is the best way to obtain this consent. And it'll obviously vary based on the state and the state laws too, and what's required. But at the minimum, we recommend that you at least the minimum obtain that verbal consent before you start, and explain to them what it's being used for. It's going to help you write your note and be able to focus on the patient, and get that consent before you start the recording. And you can also explain that this recording is just used to transcribe, and they'll be deleted. And from my talking to our clinicians, 99% of patients are fine with it, because again, they actually feel like, wow, you can actually really pay attention to me now because you're no longer having to stare at your screen and type away. I'm sure as time goes on, maybe there will be some regulations or some changes in what the industry best practices are, and at that point there may be requirement to get that written consent. But I'm not a lawyer, so it's not legal advice, but For my, our understanding is that it's not a requirement, although some people are doing that out of abundance of caution.
Right. It's funny, I actually went with my mother to her oncologist and I used it to summarize the meeting with him. It's great because I'm like, I don't have to take notes. This is great. I'll just
Yeah,
have
we've
this
heard some
transparency.
very creative use cases. Some people are using it for, their meetings and some of their, their practice meetings. I actually would say one that's actually a common use case is some people are used to using Dragon dictation to dictate their visits,
Mhm.
and they like dictating it, and are kind of used to doing that and are good at it. So they actually still use Freed and they dictate into Freed instead of into Dragon. And what they found is that then the AI will take that dictated visit and put it into the SOAP note into the right sections, and kind of in a way that they like. So they find that even though they're not using it in the room doing a visit, so let's say you do have a patient who says, I'm not comfortable with this technology, you can still use it to dictate your visit afterwards, and it still will save you time because it organizes your notes in a way that you like it.
Absolutely. Just remember to use it every time before that was the first thing you're like, oh shoot, I forgot to. But if you do record your visits, like I do mine on Zoom and I record them anyway, then you can just take the recording and drop it in and it'll
That's
record
right.
it then too. So
Yeah.
that was like a relief
That's
that
yeah, that was a feature we added where some people can use the voice memo app on their, on their phone to record it, and you have an audio recording, and then you can upload it as a file into Freed afterwards. So you don't necessarily have to use Freed, and maybe you have, poor internet connection, that, and sometimes it's spotty Wi-Fi. So that's another way to do it is record it with the voice memo app on your phone, and then you can drop that file into Freed afterwards.
That's a great idea. Yeah. She'll be asked how to use with EMR. I think you answered that one. Is there any other you covered that, right?
Yeah, I would say right now, for most of our users who are not in the pilot, they're copying and pasting into their EHR. Every EHR has a little bit different format. So some EHRs it's just one big blank page, right? So I use Epic at Kaiser, just one long page, right? So you can click the copy all button and paste all the sections directly into it. But then there are some EHRs, like Athena, that may separate out the subjective page from as a separate, page from the objective. So you might have to copy and paste each section individually. So the work of that we're doing now with EHR integration is that we want to be able to, rather than copy and paste, you can just send it directly to the EHR when the note is done. And so we're gonna, by one, work our way through the different EHR software out there and help finish that integration work that's needed. But it'll take a little bit of time. But the more we when people tell us, oh, this is the EHR software that I'm using, and I would love to see an integration, that helps us know how to prioritize which EHRs to go after.
Great. Yeah. So yeah, that's exactly what I do is just cut and paste. It's super easy. So anyway, again, thank you so much for coming on board. I hope you all decide to do it. Remember to use the link I provided in order to get the 10 free visits plus the coupon code to get the $50 off your first month subscription. You can use that regardless of when you're watching this. It's code Jody50 for that. But if you sign up within by let's say May 2nd, you will get $50 off your first 2 months, $50 per month off the first 2 months. So it'll only be $49 a month for the first 2 months after your 10-day trial. And the coupon code for that is Jody, Jodi exclusive, all one word. And then that will take effect. So I hope you all decide to do it. I hope it saves you tons of time. I hope you enjoy it as much as I've been enjoying it. And thank you again, Jack. This has been great. I wish you lots of success with this. I think you really hit a home run with this software.
Thank you, Jody. Thanks for having me on, and always happy to answer any questions that your followers may have. So feel free to email me at jack@getfree.ai. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to talk about the software.
Yeah, and if you want to join the group too, I'm sure there'll be comments on the feed underneath and questions too. But I appreciate that generous offer. All right, take care, everybody. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.